Well, Kamal, this is I always forget what this is, don't I? This is Plutonic Planes. This is Meten at Plutonic Planes, and I'm doing Gate 43 Transit Sun for November 12th to November 16th. And this is a transit hitting right on the Mars conjunct um, Mercury. And so this is an intense initial 2 days. And this is right after Mercury goes retrograde on the 11th. And today, I don't even know the date today. Today is the 11th. So this will go on board tonight. So what it is it's an intense couple days. I mean, the initial energy is really fiery with Mars and Mercury both in Sagittarius and opposing Uranus. And so Mercury's at about 6 retrograde and Mars is about 5 degrees retrograde, so yeah, it's about to hit exact. Then we get all the retrograde planets. And so what we're looking at is the transit of gate 43. And this is real intense because you can see all the activity. We got the whole 4323 channel structuring active, as well as having gate 63 4, which is a channel of the thinker. I'm going to double check that. And so we have two active channels, and it's going to be a lot of mental energy. And with the 4323, remember to wait to be invited or to ask before you share your knowledge and insight and knowingness for the breakthrough. It's the channel of logic. So the channel of logic and the channel of structuring are going to be active, and it's going to be an intense week with those aspects starting off. And it's all building up towards the new moon on the 19th. And it's a real intense new moon with everything in Scorpio, late Scorpio, nearing Sagittarius, opposing Uranus, just returning into Taurus. And so expect some surprises, some surprise insights. But it's all about going deep. So it doesn't have to be, anything too shocking or anything to hide from. It's just about going deep and deeper and being vulnerable and really like looking at what it is. Because we're in Scorpio time, so we're in the underworld, looking at our deeper motivations and uncovering our deeper motivations, either with another or with oneself. And so it's a very powerful time to kind of do certain practices. One of the practices is to, let's see if I can remember the shamanic terms, to I want to say hunt, but not hunt, but I'll give you an example. Like if let's say you're sleeping and then you wake up. Some of us wake up in the middle of the night every night, or a certain time, or to see why it is you wake up. Do you wake up to use the washroom, or do you wake up and you're just awake and you don't know why? And if you don't know why, then that's what you're going to look at. Why did you wake up? Did something wake you up, or something wake you up? Did something wake you up in the dream space? And so it's all about that. It's all about, and again, I'm forgetting the word, but there's a particular word that's used in shamanism, shamanistic practices, and I'm gonna find it real quick. And what it is, it's give me a second, I'll tell you guys. Struggling with recall lately. Um, I gotta sign in. And so what it is, it's certain practices in order to discern what it is that's getting in your space or interrupting your space. Stalking or tracking. Those are the words I was looking for. So in shamanistic practices, you could track and stalk the energies that are disrupting you or disturbing or interrupting you. And there's awareness tools, just utilizing sensation in the body and what you feel and see. And whatever comes to mind, that's what it is. You don't overthink it. You don't question yourself. You just what you get is what you get. You trust that. And we're in the underworld after all. This is Scorpio times, so that's what it is. That's where we're at. Before we launch back into our Aries vortex vision, we're taking a break, we're taking a stop, and we're taking count of what's been working, what's not been working. For myself, I've been looking at why I haven't started my monthly human design or astrology chat. And then I'm thinking, oh, maybe I'll do it 3 months free and then start charging after. Something enticing like that. Something, I guess it's just part of the marketing standards these days where you give a lot free because there's so much competition. So it just got me thinking about those things and then why I haven't been writing on my Substack. Just just avoidance, I guess. I mean, there's more there's more than that, of course. In human design, I'm a 1-3, so I deal with, the fear of being caught out of my depth of not having a solid foundation. The insecurity of the first line is like, how can I be the best at what I do? How can I be so, practiced at what I do, so sure that, that there's no worry, there's no my foundation is solid. There's no sense of um feeling like I don't know my stuff. Like 1-3, I'm gonna study it over and over again obsessively. So, but it's a new level of it because I've always been more comfortable speaking. I did do writing in school. Well, I did do a lot of writing, but I was always more comfortable speaking and getting out my insights through my voice, through intuition. And I do have the 2343, so that's definitely activating when I do my gateways, the different gateways. And so this gateway is 43, and this is Scorpio. This is one of the most powerful gateways. I'm going to go over it a little, start with Chetons, go into Raw, and touch a little on Red. And Chetan calls it breakthrough, insight, new perceptions, and by remaining resolute, reform old ways and habits. Great serenity is required to assimilate new concepts so that they can be delivered clearly. Paying attention to the bright spark that eliminates hesitation and promotes resolution. And it has to do with the inner ear, has to do with being vigilant, not blindly rushing into employing new insights, but waiting for intent, and also being resolute and clear in order to receive to guide one's goals towards clear outcomes, being resilient before you implement your own way, and there could be a craving for change with the 43 as well, because these new insights, they change reality from the inside out. And 43 is one of those gates that's individual, so it wants to express in its own way. And the name of this channel is the channel structuring, as I said, but it's a design of individuality, as Ra noted. So it's also called the Genius to Freak channel, which means a genius when people ask for your insights, and a freak when people don't ask and you share anyway. And so that's the problem with a lot of these freak channels, or freaks who have this channel, is they deliver insight when it's not asked for, and they'll notice that people won't get it. They won't really hear it. They'll say, "What a wacko! I don't know what you're saying," because it's a sudden awareness. So it needs to be kind of asked for to as a response. And it's spontaneous individual knowing or not. And whether this knowing is any value to anybody, of course, is again relative to one having an invite to speak. Um, it's an acoustic process in the Gate 43 in in the whole channel. In other words, it's has to be translated from an acoustic sound that comes into the mind, comes into the intelligence of the body, and has to be immediately translated into words. And so it's a very sudden, intense awareness. It's like, oh, I know the answer. Or you just speak it out. And whether it can be articulated clearly is, again, that's a different story. It has to do with, what the context is, what the moment is. Can it be externalized clearly? Can people understand it? You guys may notice with me sometimes I'll just talk and then start talking myself into circles and philosophical tautologies and just kind of moving musings that kind of go here and there. And sometimes it happens where, usually when I'm 20 minutes in or more, I'll just kind of start riffing on some aspects I've been communicating and touching upon, and then I'll start saying stuff. I don't even really know what I'm saying, but I have such a strong background in philosophy and in human design studies that sometimes I feel that my 2343 has access to that power to do that. And then what comes out will resonate with you or it won't. It's not for logic that I speak. It's also lateral thinking, not just logical thinking. It's it's the whole spiral way of thinking too, where you repeat and you repeat in different ways to kind of get at the core of something. And so it's a different process of thoughts. I mean, we have the capacity of knowing things by comparison, but we also know from pattern recognition, and we also know what we know when we know it. The whole idea of beliefs over and over again, I feel like I have to say this because it's one of the biggest kind of propaganda programmings there is. Like you go on YouTube, so many people say, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe this, I believe that, but belief doesn't really mean anything. Anyone could believe anything they want. Like that's a choice. That's a mental process. What real relevance does that have? Very minimal, because knowing is knowing. If you know something that's different, can you explain your knowing? No, most of us can't because it's knowing, it's intelligence that's flowing through the body. And it's captured in that moment in the throat to manifest into the world through the voice, through acoustics. And that's essentially what it is. It's knowingness, it's the intelligence of the body. Because as we're learning, we're not intellectual beings. We're not. We're not here to be stuck in our head. We're not here to live from the head. We're here to allow the intelligence to move through us wherever it needs to express. Of course, it's always trying to get to one place, and that's the throat center in order to manifest into the world. And in the Rave I Ching, Ra wrote, in order for achievement to be maintained, a new order must be fairly established. So he notes later on, the only achievement for the 43rd gate is the ability to explain their knowing. Unless they can properly explain their knowing, they're not going to feel like they can achieve. So they can get really frustrated in that. And it all resonates back to the process of the 28. Is life really worthwhile? Or one goes to the resonance in the 57 and says, am I afraid of tomorrow? The knowers are afraid of tomorrow if they know that. and tomorrow they will have to explain themselves and they don't know if they can. Because the individual is always attracting attention, they will always attract rejection. If they cannot explain themselves, they will be rejected. So there is a deep anxiety, the fear of the mind that no one will know what they mean. They don't know me, they don't know what I mean, they don't know what I want. The counseling that I give all individuals is that they have to learn how to communicate so that they can develop the skills necessary to explain themselves. This is fascinating because the 43 wants to learn how to explain anyways, because the 43 is aware of its knowingness coming in, but it also wants to be able to explain it clearly. But it also wants to have fun and be kind of epiphanic or poetic in its expression. It's an individuated expression, so it wants to uniquely express its insights. And if it has the 51, it wants to express it with shock. If it has the 20, it wants to express it in the moment with a simultaneous intense awareness. And this is what it is, the 43. It's blurting out insights. And one hopes with gradual comfortability with this particular projected channel that one is expressing in response, that other people are asking for the insights so they can come out and resonate and sound clear and are understood by others. Because what are we really doing if we're expressing things that others don't resonate with or understand? We're just talking to ourselves. And that's okay, and it's good practice. But it's not creating a bridge between the self and the other. And so the 43, so look at my notes here, is known as a gate of deafness. But that deafness is not necessarily external. It is in a way. I mean, 23, 43s do have trouble hearing others. They do have to practice active listening. That can take a while for 43, 23s because they're so comfortable speaking out their insights, or at least once they gain that comfortability. And so in its lowest frequency expression, it's coming from a frequency, of course, of fear, which of course is a genetic survival strategy that all the gateways have in their lowest frequency expression. So for the 43, this deafness is really around hearing one's self, hearing one's own insights for oneself. So one is learning how to listen at this gate 43. And one is turning the noise away. Is not listening so much to the noise, but is hearing true insight that occurs within the mutation of the DNA structure of the body. Because it's a process with the 43. It's a process to learn to hear what goes on inside of one and not be distracted by the noise, the external noise. And at the level of this lower frequency, you're not hearing yourself and you're not hearing others. But at a higher level, in order to get to a higher frequency, especially with our traumas, with especially acting in fear, needing to control things, you know what we see with most traumas, people acting in fear. The way to get out of that is service. The way to get out of that is stop being preoccupied with your own understanding or misunderstanding or trying to control or trying to do this or that. You just share what your talents are in this world with others. That's it. Service for others. You focus on others. And you see that your health issues will dissipate. You'll see that your distractions will dissipate. You'll see that your obsessions will dissipate. Because so many of us are preoccupied with control of what we're fearing can come about that we forget that, wait a second, it's what am I sharing with others? Am I getting the love and why does no one love or care about me? Am I giving love and care to others? If we're busy giving care and love to others and support and in service to others, then we don't have time to worry about ourselves. Now, that's not to say to seek balance with a capital B, to make sure, that you're getting some level of reciprocity. I mean, I think that's obvious to us humans by now, that we don't want to just fall into patterns of codependency and just give everything away. No, we want to have friendships and connections with people every day where, there's we're sharing energy and they're giving energy back. I mean, that's usually how it goes. It's really not something to worry about. But we definitely want to have an awareness for when that's not happening, because it keeps the energy moving, it keeps it alive. We connect with each other when we connect, and it's so powerful to hear someone and for them to share something with you and you hear it. I mean, that's incredible. You're not on your one's not on their phone being distracted or whatever other distraction, but they're feeling it in their body. They're hearing what someone said and you know, they really feel good about that. Like they heard what the person said and they appreciate that. It's such simple things. Like I think we forget in life that we're always looking for complexity, but really life's very simple. Just be there, be here, and share with others and let them share back and feel that love and connection that really comes forth when we care for others and want to connect with them. Because that's what it is. For a while, I remember like years ago, I used to be obsessed with everything had to have equivalence. Everything had to have a balance. So I'm giving you this, you give me that. We got to make sure, we get the same amount of time, blah, blah, blah. That's all nonsense. I was really stuck on that. But now I'm over that. I'm pretty much over that. Like I mean, I'm here on YouTube doing a bunch of, vids, you know. I really have to learn the other side of it now and balance and, what I share and, what I put behind the paywall. But anyway, that's my issues or my process. So what I'm getting at is to the meaning of this 43. And it's a pulse. It's a it's a pulse, it's a rhythm that has fluctuations, unexpected fluctuations, as most of the individual channels do. And so consciousness is expressed through this particular gate in such a way that we're expressing a knowingness. And this next week, people are going to be expressing this. This channel is going to be active. You're going to be utilizing it. Others are going to be utilizing it. And it'll express in such a way as insights will be shared. And they'll resonate or they won't. Because, it's a mental channel here. So one of the dangers that could come up is there could be fear on low levels, worry, and just people getting stuck in loops. Or it could be people that just don't stop talking. I mean, one thing with this channel is this channel gives everyone access to speak. And so sometimes, I think I was at a get together the other day and I was starting to feel like I wasn't being heard at all. Like this guy was talking, that guy was talking. I mean, they were great insights. It was brilliant. We had a great conversation. And then that guy was responding, the other guy was responding. And I was like thinking to myself, yeah, threes never work, right? Human design, threes don't work. But I just waited, I decided, you know what, I'm just gonna wait patiently. And of course I couldn't do that. So I didn't really intercede, but I was able to come in at a certain point and just express what I wanted to express. That's all. Real neutrally too. I wanted to express kind of the two dominant perspectives we were all talking about. And I feel it worked out great. I feel like it did. So the 43 again, we're expressing service, the 43 is expressing a very individuated type of rebellion. Rebellion in the sense that it's expressing a new and unique insight. And it's an insight that suddenly breaks through unexpectedly. And it can surprise the environment or it can be just what's correct. It's a deep insight that comes in. There doesn't may not always be followed by a deep explanation or rationalization, but it's an insight that comes in. It's an important insight. And if it's high enough in frequency, then it's an epiphany. It's a powerful realization. And then an inner transformation occurs. And it's in a way, the 43s kind of resembles the tarot card of the Fool because it's people that say a bunch of shit, like almost like a mystical fool that just start talking, and they're not too preoccupied with what they're saying, but they're on a certain frequency level where they're expressing insight and depth, poetic depth, and it just comes out. And it's almost like they don't really know nothing except they're just putting words together, stringing words together, so it seems, making sounds. But there's something divine in that expression. If like with anything that is perfect, any perfected form and practice. And in a sense, that's what I'm doing here in this kind of tautological circles I like to flow in. I'm giving away a space for myself to speak in such a way that insights will come out when they do. Not so much forcing them, but to speak around and through the thematics of particular gateways and see what I can arrive at. And sometimes it's really fun when I already have that gate, because then I kind of know it. And I kind of know my process around that. And with the 43, I have the whole channel. So it's a channel I'm very familiar with in my own process. And, the insights come out, and then sometimes nonsense comes out. But that's a part of it. That's a part of that process. I'm really into the comedian Norm Macdonald, who passed some years ago, and he would talk a lot of nonsense in order to get out an insight. I wonder if he has a 2343. I have to check. But, a lot of nonsense could come out from these people. They could just banter or just say some dumb shit or not say much. And other people kind of talk over them or talk and they don't talk too much, which is okay too. I don't mean to sound like anyone's talking over them or it's banter. But other people could be using that channel and could be expressing the insights. In fact, that happens a lot with me too. Others will express the insights, and I'll just sit there and listen. I forget that I've also grown comfortable with active listening. I mean, it's been a lot of years of practice. I know for a long time I was pretty deaf. But, active listening is important. It's important to connect with people in all ways. And that doesn't mean you connect with them by being the one who talks all the time. Sometimes it's time for you to listen. And therein comes the thematics of balance, of capital B balance, is like sometimes be on this end, sometimes be on the other. And that's what this week will be. Sometimes you're going to listen, sometimes you're going to talk, sometimes you're going to hear these unique insights out of nowhere. And do you really hear it? If you do, be sure to thank and appreciate that in the other person. We all too often forget to express our gratitude for the insights of others because it changes us. It causes mutation. The throat is the center of manifestation. So words are powerful, especially the words that make us angry or cause tension in the body. And it's not the person's problem who said it, it's the person's problem who heard it. And it's not a problem. It was great. I went to this kind of immersion, I think I mentioned, and someone mentioned in it that they were really enjoying it. It was a really great event, except it reminded them of something really sad, something that had occurred in the past. And I had a moment with this person a little later on when all of us were kind of closer, and I was just kind of walking, he was kind of walking past me, and I said, "Hey man, that wasn't the problem, what you said." I said, "That's the solution. The solution is to be triggered. It's not to be happy all the time and not be confronted. It's not to not get lit up. It's not to not be offended. It's to be offended. It's to be confronted. It's to be lit up. That's all perfect. That's all great. Because then you know where you're you know where you're not clear. We're walking flutes. The universe is trying to make some sounds. It's trying to play some notes through us. And how can we play right if we have a bunch of muck in us that get stuck and triggered by certain words or things? I still get annoyed at certain shit, of course, because I get tired of hearing not certain types of nonsense. But I was probably saying such nonsense at some point in my life, so I don't know why I pretend that I need to get upset over it. It's like everyone's where they're at. It's no, it's just they're where they're at, and they're ready to jump to the next frequency or not. I mean, that's the basis of any type of balance of awareness is to have allowance for where everyone's at and be cool with that. Why not? We're here to connect in with a protected and an open heart. And that's really important. And oh, I didn't go over the 6343. So that's a logical channel. You guys can see that. Those who have that channel usually can't really solve their own issues, but they're good at solving other people's issues. It's kind of like a detective channel and very powerful channel, very sharp. Can really get to the bottom of things. And so that's what kind of week it is. It's a Scorpio detective week. If you want to get to the bottom of something, that's a good week to do it. To start your detection. And yeah, the energy's there for it. And right at the end of this week, we'll move into Sag. The sun will move into the first Sagittarius gate. I think I noted what gate that was. That'll be the next video I do. That's gate 14. That one's on the cusp. Yeah, so the next one's right on the cusp. So it's Scorpio. It's mostly Scorpio still, and then a little Sag. And yeah, I'll get to that next. Thanks for listening. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully there were some insights in there. And thanks so much for listening. Really appreciate. And feel free to put a like and feel free to also write a response. I'm trying to get better at responding to everyone, and I'm doing it here and there. Last couple of videos I did it, and so I'll try to continue. And enjoy your week in the underworld, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Remember, a quick reminder, the new moon on the 19th, because I think this gate will go through there. No, it'll go to the 16th. Yeah, so the 14, I'll remind us about that new moon. We're still in the period of time right before that new moon. Okay, thanks so much, everyone, and see you guys next time.